KDEW Television presents Johnny Gamboa and the Politician's Nightmare.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Politician's Nightmare. It's good to have you here tonight. We have as my guest Mr. Carlo Bryan De Coco. Mr. De Coco will be running in the upcoming elections as a city councilman for the 23rd District. Welcome, Mr. De Coco.
Thank you, Johnny. It's great to be here.
Thank you. If you don't mind, I would like to get right to the point.
By all means.
How in the world can you run for an office and be under indictment for murder?
This is America, Johnny. Anything's possible.
What about your drug convictions?
Oh, what about it?
Doesn't it bother you that you were discovered to have 54 marijuana plants in your bedroom?
Those plants were there specifically to regenerate the oxygen supply in that bedroom.
What about your garage that was stacked up to the roof with barbiturates?
Those were vitamin pills.
And the cocaine and heroin?
Nobody's perfect, Johnny.
Okay. What makes you think you're qualified for the 23rd District?
Somehow you're under the illusion that I'm running for the city council seat.
Well, sir, my sources advise me of that fact.
Well, I think you should check your sources.
Okay. What office are you campaigning for, then?
The President of the United States.
That's simply unbelievable, and I don't mind saying ridiculous. What are your qualifications?
Well, Johnny, first of all, I'm over 35 years of age. I'm an American citizen, and I have the backing of the most powerful men in the world.
And may I ask who these men are?
Well, Johnny, it's none of your business. None of your business. I'm telling you
okay.
that now.
Give us a little bit of your qualifications, anything.
My qualifications are neither here or there. What were the qualifications of Richard Tricky Dick Nixon, Gerald the Goofball Ford, Jimmy the Peanut Carter, Ronald the Sleeping Actor Reagan, George the Wimp Bush, Bill Slick Willie Clinton? Is this the best America has to offer? Give us all a quarter of a century break.
Well, if you don't reveal your qualifications, how are people to know what you're all about?
It's not that important to know what I'm all about, but it's essential they know what I know about our history, Johnny.
Our political history?
You got that right.
Okay, Mr. De Coco, please tell us something we all know.
Well, first of all, going back to Nixon. Richard Nixon's real name was Ricardo Martinez Lopez Malpazzo the Nixualo. He was a Mexican national smuggled in on the California border in the early
ridiculous.
1950s. It's not ridiculous.
That's the stupidest statement I ever heard in my
The
life.
same group of men that made Nixon the president of the United States are the same group that conjured up Gerald
Ford? Was he a Mexican national too?
Man, you are really brain dead, Johnny. Gerald Ford's real name is very, very hard to pronounce because Gerald Ford is not of this earth. He's an extraterrestrial from the planet Lupa. His code name translated to our language is pronounced Mishakan.
That's another stupid statement. Although it sounds like an Indian name. Tell me more.
Well, remember Area 51 where supposedly an alien craft crash landed in the desert and the government kept it secret for all these years?
Now you're saying that Gerald Michigan Ford was one of the aliens that crashed?
Negative. Gerald Ford was smuggled in on Apollo 13 when it was on the dark side of the moon. In order for the extraterrestrials on the planet Lupa to conjugate with Earthlings, it was necessary to infiltrate the White House. It really was ingenious, you see. At that time, Nixon was losing his mind and buying all the recording tape he could find. But the most dangerous thing he was doing was speaking perfect Spanish to the wrong people, Johnny. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You must be totally out of your mind.
Brain-dead people like you usually respond like that, Johnny. But intelligent humans know that an open mind is a cavern of knowledge. And for your information, Area 51 was one of the greatest and still is cover-ups in the history of the world. The aliens on that spacecraft were Dan Quayle and Oprah Winfrey.
Ronald Reagan?
Let me finish. Reagan, he's mankind's greatest invention. Although his self-contained energy source did embarrass a few,
What do you exactly
he's still
mean,
the greatest
invention?
Exactly what that infers, Johnny. Ronald Reagan was not the $6 million man, but a full cyborg rubber
That's sacrilegious.
man.
You're saying that Reagan was rubber?
A rubber man with obvious malfunctions. His many attacks of endless dozing off in high-level meetings almost turned into a disaster. In Reagan's second term, they exchanged the portable energy source to a simple wall plug. If you remember, in Reagan's second term, he never spoke unless there was a wall plug nearby. Do you remember that, Johnny?
Yeah, come to think of it, I do remember seeing a wall plug
Well, now you're
Always
getting
nearby.
it, Johnny. You're getting. And let's not forget good old boy Jimmy Carter.
Oh no, he wasn't a rubber band, was he?
No, good old Jimmy was not rubber, but he was more devious than most real live men.
What do you mean?
I mean, he had plastic surgery on his face to reflect a constant smile, showing off his sparkling white false teeth. Even in a bad mood, he would smile. But the most hideous thing of all, Johnny, was his excessive use of enemas with the oil of the peanut to give him that oily look that so many of his followers
I'm afraid to ask
adored.
about George Bush.
Let me finish. George, the wimp. There's nothing extraordinary about this man, but everyone has their darkness hidden somewhere out of sight, Johnny. And this
What
man,
in the
or I
world
should
are
say
you
these
saying
men.
now?
Let me finish, Johnny. George Bush is really not one man, but 13 to be exact. This is why he flip-flopped on everything. George Bush, the pilot, was really George Raft. George Bush, the director of the CIA, was really George Goebel. George Bush, the vice president of the United States, was really George of the Jungle. I could go on, Johnny, revealing all 13 Bushes. But let's just say that George Bush, as the president of the United States, was a Muppet. Yes, you're hearing me correctly. The real
You mean
Bush
like,
was more
like
than
Gonzo?
a puppet or the real control. Now, don't tell me about Gonzo. He was more like a bozo. Are you
I want you to
listening?
know that I'll be calling the paramedics for you.
The truth hurts, doesn't it, Johnny?
Well, we're thankfully out of time.
Do you want to know about Bill Clinton?
We all know about Clinton, womanizer, drugs, etc.
William Jefferson Clinton, or his other name was Bill Clinton. His real name, Belinda
What?
Josephine Clinton. Yes, the President of the United States is a woman. All the feminists really put something over on the men of this
Do you
nation.
really expect me to believe this utter nonsense?
Now you know the best kept secret in the history of this world.
All right, what about Jennifer Flowers? And Clinton exposing himself to Paula Jones?
If Belinda Clinton exposed herself to Paula Jones, this takes on a totally different persuasion, doesn't it, Johnny?
When the paramedics arrive, I'll go with them instead.
Actually, Belinda is quite attractive. To make her look more like a man, she was injected daily in each nostril with a bulbous compound, Johnny.
To have that cocaine look.
Exactly.
That's it, Coco. This
One
interview's
more
over.
thing, Johnny. I'm giving you the scoop of the year. Ross Perot.
Oh, no, not my idol.
Ross Perot is a KGB operative. He infiltrated Billy Barty's Little People movement. And when Billy Barty found out that Ross Perot was 4 feet 1 inch and therefore too tall for the Little People, he was then used to cover up Hillary Clinton's real identity.
I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want to hear it.
At last but not least, Johnny, I hear to tell you that
Okay.
you do not exist.
Thank you, Mr. De Coco. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this kind of wraps it up for this
Okay,
time.
Johnny.
Evidently, you could tell that
Thank
Mr.
you,
De Coco
Johnny.
is under the influence at this very
No,
moment.
you're under
And,
the influence.
Thank you very much for tuning
the
in.
lights don't go out.
Politician's Nightmare. Oh, God.
Oh, God.
It's gonna